Helen Simpson, an introduction. Helen de Guerry Simpson was born in Sydney, Australia, on the 1st of December 1897. As a 17-year-old, she was sent to France and then on to Oxford, England, to complete her education. Whilst there, she founded the Oxford Women's Dramatic Society. She was sent down in 1921, apparently for breaking regulations prohibiting male and female students from acting together. Her early work of poems, plays, a novel, and a collection of short stories found little commercial success. It was only with Boomerang in 1932 that her success was established. Helen continued to write across the genres and by now had become intensely interested in politics. She was selected to run by the Liberals for the Isle of Wight parliamentary seat in the expected general election of 1939 or 40. Sadly, this coincided with the rapid onset of cancer, and her health very quickly deteriorated. Helen Simpson died in Worcestershire, England, on the 14th of October 1940. She was 42. In Young Magic, a young girl experiments with her supernatural abilities and attempts to control them. Years later, when she returns home and begins a relationship, those abilities begin to reappear in a more sinister form.
Young Magic by Helen Simpson. When Viola was very little, she used to play by herself exactly as a cat does. She would fix her eyes upon an invisible adversary, stalk him, and fly from him when her manoeuvres could not take him unawares. It was a very good game to play in a garden, especially in autumn, when the taller flowers came out, delphiniums, and a strong kind of white daisy. But curiously enough, in the garden it was never a success. Viola always used to hope that one day it would be. She used to run out of the house, pretending not to care, not looking behind, and would hide, allowing some part of her dress to show in a most alluring way. It was no use, though sometimes she caught a grown-up, with whom it was no fun to play, for such persons showed a long way off, and trod heavily, and were awkward at dodging. The grown-ups considered her a good child, always amusing herself, and not noisy. They thought it was perhaps a little odd, the way in which she talked and nodded to flowers or patches of shadow, and they used to question her. "Is that a fairy you're playing with? Oh, how nice! What is her name?" Viola would stare at them, realizing that some answer was required if she were not to be rebuked for sulkiness. And when the inquirer asked again, wheedling for the fairy's name, she would contemptuously answer, "Binns," and go on with whatever she was doing. This always caused laughter, and, as a rule, put the grown-ups to silence. Persistent ones, however, would keep at it. "And what is Binns like?" "Thin." "Oh, and what does she do?" At first, Viola used to ignore this question, but when she found that it meant being told not to be silly, she invented an occupation for Binns. She hated more completely than anything in her experience to be told she was silly. So she would answer, "Washing." And sometimes, when people were looking, she would pretend to be washing, so that they would believe her when the inevitable question and answer came along. But it was all the purest invention. She did not like the way other people came trampling into her mind, just as they often walked unheeding and made dull marks on a nice-shaped patch of dewy grass she had been treasuring since morning. And they would have said she was silly if she told them truthfully that there was no Binns, only a feeling, and this feeling was not a she, and that he did no washing, and was not thin. He was rather soft and big. She did not know what he looked like. He played with her only in the house. Perhaps for that reason Viola lost touch with him in summer. She liked to be a prince in summer,
Sample complete. Ready to continue?